Hello everyone. We're here today because we're at a critical moment. The incredible growth of artificial intelligence is on a direct crash course with something we all depend on, Canada's freshwater. Now, this isn't some far-off problem for another generation. It's a strategic challenge that's happening right now, and it demands we completely rethink our country's digital infrastructure.
So let's start with a really basic question. What do you actually picture when you hear terms like AI or the cloud? For most of us, it sounds weightless, virtual. But the truth is, every single calculation, every query, is a physical process. And that process has real, tangible costs.
And that hidden cost? It's water. The whole digital revolution, the engine that's driving our modern economy, is built on a physical network of data centers. And these centers consume absolutely massive amounts of energy and, as we're about to see, a truly unsustainable amount of our fresh water.
Let's put a number on it, just to see the scale we're talking about. 1.08 trillion liters. That's the baseline projection for how much water data centers in North America will consume in 2025. That's next year. To put that in perspective, it's enough to fill over 400,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools. This is the immediate crisis we're facing.
You might be wondering, where on earth is all this water going? Well, it all comes down to some pretty simple physics. AI processors, they get incredibly hot. The most common way to cool them is with something called evaporative cooling. Basically, water is used to absorb all that heat, and then it's evaporated into the air. The key here is that the water is consumed. It's gone from the local watershed for good.
And this is already happening at a massive scale. Just look at the numbers. Microsoft reported a staggering 34% jump in its water consumption in just 1 year, and they tied it directly to their AI development. Google used over 6 billion gallons last year. But it's not just the huge corporations. It's happening on a tiny scale too. A single back-and-forth conversation with a tool like ChatGPT can use up half a liter of water. Now just imagine that, multiplied by the billions of conversations happening every single day.
Okay, so that's the picture today. But now we need to look at where this is all heading. If we stick with the current way of doing things, building these data centers on land, we're on a path that is, to put it plainly, completely unsustainable. It's a trajectory that threatens a full-blown water crisis.
This chart right here really shows you the urgency. Just look at that curve. We're looking at water consumption more than doubling in just over a decade. It's going from that 1.08 trillion liters we just talked about to 2.45 trillion by 2035. This isn't a slow and steady increase, it's an exponential explosion, and it's all being driven by our insatiable demand for AI.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the story this table tells over the long run. Right now, we are just entering what's called the AI boom phase, between now and 2035. This is where we'll see this unchecked growth, using all this water-intensive cooling, and it's going to push our water systems right to a crisis point. The model shows that this becomes physically unsustainable. That drop-off you see in the later years, that's not guaranteed. It only happens if we make a fundamental change in how we do things.
So why should Canada, specifically, be so concerned? Because this problem is coming here, and it's coming fast. For a long time, we've thought of ourselves as a water-rich nation, a safe haven. But that very reputation is making us a prime target for data center expansion. With a growth rate of nearly 11% a year, what we've always seen as our greatest strength could very quickly become a massive strategic vulnerability.
But what if we could have all that explosive growth in computing power without tying it to our planet's finite resources? This brings us to what we believe is the only truly viable long-term solution. It's a complete paradigm shift, moving our heaviest, most demanding compute infrastructure off the planet entirely.
This slide really lays out the fork in the road we're at. On one side, you have the terrestrial path. That's the path we're on now. It means more massive water use, skyrocketing energy costs, and fights over land. But then you have the orbital path. It offers zero water consumption, it's powered by free, constant solar energy, and it completely sidesteps all the bottlenecks we have down here on the ground. The choice couldn't be more stark.
Now, this isn't science fiction. This isn't some dream for the distant future. There is a specific, actionable, and proudly Canadian-led proposal on the table ready to seize this opportunity. It's called the Indigenous AI Data Center in Space, or IADCS.
The entire philosophy behind the IADCS is captured perfectly in this quote from Jason Carter of Bear Standing Tall Inc. Data as kin, not oil. It's a profound shift in thinking. It moves away from an extractive model, where we just take and use resources like oil, to a regenerative one,
Viewing data as kin aligns perfectly with Indigenous values of stewardship and partnership. It sees technology as a partner for a sustainable future, not just a tool for depletion.
And this isn't just a philosophy, it's a really solid business model. By 2035, the IEDCS is projected to bring in significant revenue from services that are just perfectly suited for being in orbit. We're talking about things like quantum computing, which actually works better in the extreme cold of space, specialized AI processing, and ultra-secure communications that are literally beyond the reach of any interference on Earth.
The economic opportunity here for Canada is huge. The projected annual revenue for the IADCS is somewhere between $2 and $5 billion by 2035. This is our chance to grab a commanding leadership position in a brand new and very fast-growing sector of the space economy.
And for early investors, the financial case is incredibly compelling. We're looking at a projected return on investment of between 4 and 7 times by 2032. This is a sound, strategic investment in Canada's technological and economic future, and it comes with perpetual dividends flowing back to Indigenous nations.
So, the orbital model gives us 3 core advantages that are simply impossible to get down here on Earth. First, it totally eliminates water use by using huge radiators to beam heat directly into the vacuum of space. Second, it slashes energy costs by about 10 times, thanks to uninterrupted solar power. And third, it creates a level of data sovereignty and security that is absolutely unparalleled.
And this whole initiative is grounded in real next-generation tech. The IDSC plan calls for deploying the absolute state-of-the-art in hardware. We're talking NVIDIA's upcoming Blackwell GPUs, advanced quantum processors. This will be a globally competitive platform from the day it launches. And this is absolutely crucial. This project is a direct answer to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls to action. By creating an Indigenous-led, globally significant tech company, the IADCS becomes a powerful way to achieve meaningful economic reconciliation. It's a chance to move beyond just words and into real, concrete action and ownership. So let's bring this all together. The IADCS isn't just some innovative project. It's a strategic imperative. It's how we can secure Canada's future in the new space economy, and it turns our current resource challenge into a massive global leadership opportunity.
And the market is not waiting around. The in-orbit data center market is projected to grow at a compound annual rate of nearly 70%. That is an explosive, once-in-a-generation kind of growth. The chance to lead is right now, but that window is closing fast.
This timeline really shows you how quickly this industry is going to evolve. Right now, we're in the proof of concept phase, but by the time the IADSS is fully up and running, around 2035, the industry will be moving into standardization. That's when orbital computing becomes the new normal for heavy workloads. By acting now, we put Canada at the very front of that wave instead of trying to play catch-up later.
Ultimately, supporting the IADCS comes down to a strategic triple win for Canada. It's a win for our environment because we solve the AI water crisis before it even starts. It's a win for our economy, positioning Canada as a leader in what will be a $1 trillion market. And it's a win for our national identity because it delivers on the promise of reconciliation in a powerful, tangible way.
The data couldn't be clearer. The trajectory is obvious, and the opportunity is right here in front of us. The most powerful industry of this century is fundamentally decoupling itself from Earth's resources and moving into orbit. So the only real question left is, will Canada have the vision to lead the way? Thank you.